Hello student, today we are going to discuss about geography paper first, environmental geography. Now we are going to discuss about unit 4th, national environmental policy and movement. In this unit we have to study about initiatives or actions regarding land degradation, forest conservation, wildlife conservation and climate change. During the last lecture, we have discussed about land degradation and forest conservation. Now, we have to study about wildlife conservation. Wildlife conservation involves the protection, increase and maintenance of a maximum number of wild animals and efforts to increase the productivity of the natural habitats. Conservation is the practice of protecting wild plants and animal species and their habitats. Conservation is the practice of protecting wild plants and efforts to increase the productivity of the natural habitats. The success of the management of wild animals depends upon the environmental conditions of the natural habitats. The interest of the government, educationists, conservationists, planners and public in the management program. Most of the wild animals have now become endangered species because of a rapid decrease in the population of animals. The process of extinction of wildlife has become fast in recent years of human civilization. In this century, the human impact has been so severe that thousands of species of varieties are becoming extinct annually. Destruction and loss of habitat is the largest cause of biodiversity loss. The Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act of the Parliament of India enacted for protection of plant and animal species. Before 1972, India only had 5 designated national parks. Among other reforms, the Act established schedules of protected plants and animal species. Hunting or harvesting these species was largely outlawed. The Act provides for the protection of wild animals, birds and plants or for matter connected therewith. The Wildlife Protection Act passed in 1972. The Act actually took up the task of setting up wild national parks and sanctuaries. The major activities and provisions in Act can be as follows. The Wildlife Protection Act 1972 72 provides for the constitution of a wildlife advisory board. Regulation of hunting of wild animals and birds, laying down of procedures for declaring areas as sanctuaries and national parks, and regulation of trade in wild animals. The Act provides for prohibition of hunting of endangered species, protection of endangered plants. It provides for legal powers to officers and punishment to offenders. It provides for captive breeding program for endangered endangered species. Now the next topic is freshwater. Freshwater is a valuable natural resource for life and economic, cultural, aesthetic, and educational enrichment. Freshwater is available in three types, that is inland water, groundwater, surface water. Then uses of surface and groundwater. The uses of surface and groundwater are for many purposes, among them domestic purpose, agricultural use, industrial use, navigation, aesthetic and recreational use, etc. About domestic purpose, drinking for all living organisms, cleaning, cooking, sanitation, etc. The use of water for agriculture includes artificial ways to supply water in deficit areas for plants and industries are known collectively as irrigation. Then industrial use. Used for thermal power plant, steam generation, cleaning, etc. Navigation. For transportation purposes, water is used. Aesthetic and recreational use. Used for swimming, colorful musical fountains, lawns, etc. With increasing human population, the demands have increased many times, and a large proportion of water withdrawn as polluted due to human activities. On a global average, 70% of the water withdrawn is used for agriculture. There is a variation in the utilization of water in the world. Types of water resources: surface water and groundwater. Now about the surface water. The water reservoir like ponds, lakes, dams, rivers, streams, etc. are the surface water resources. Water is used for many purposes. Surface water is a vital part of water cycle for everyday human life. Now the groundwater. Approximately 9.86% of the total freshwater resource is in the form of groundwater, and it is 40 times that of surface water. Groundwater is the water which penetrates the soil and reaches the water table. It is available in the wells or tube wells. The rock or soil is the natural filter through which groundwater passes, which is pure. Then the impact of overutilization of groundwater. Overutilization of groundwater causes the problems like waterlogging and salinity. This results lowering of soil productivity. Excessive utilization of groundwater results lowering of water table, removal of wastewater, scarcity, infiltration of salts, etc. Next part will be continued during next period. Thank you.